Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the RENNSPORT Road to Launch Championship here on RENNSPORT as we go into the third round of the season, or the only season, at Fuji. And today is gonna be interesting because we will announce what round 4 will be, since that is an unknown. Our championship leader is not here today, so we might see a change in lead, or at least getting a closer fight for the championship. And I think in general it will be quite interesting around this track at the foot of Mount Fuji with the BMW M2. But of course, as usual, I don't have to get you through the action alone, because alongside me, with a small headache but still alive, is Tim Ireland.
Hello everyone. Hi Lena. Hello everyone on Twitch. How are you guys doing? Yes, it's the continuation of our road to launch, which hopefully won't have another season. That would be weird. But yeah, it's M2CS cars at Fuji, and that means big straights, long corners, not a lot of downforce, probably some sliding, and there's Alizar here on track, so definitely some sliding.
I think that is something that is not only probable, but will definitely happen. 6 minutes of qualifying. And of course, first chance of today to get some points on the board. Fuji, a very draft-heavy track, especially on this long front stretch of this car. And you can theoretically go 4 wide, which is something that apparently some people in Daytona tried. Curious to see if that will happen today again.
Do it. Don't do it.
But yeah, going down into turn 1, very hard braking zone. Got 2 splits again, so while we only have 12 cars here on the lead server, we also have another split with another 12 cars going at it. Meaning, of course, the championship positions will come a bit more closer together. Again, a very hard braking zone down into the left-hander. As you try to get on the throttle as early as possible.
Yeah, it's generally the order of the day with the M2 CS is you want to be getting on the throttle as early as you possibly can, but you don't have the greatest amount of grip, so you've got to ride it and be ready to react. There's some interesting corners with the way the weight chain shifts around at Fuji, which can make it interesting.
Yeah, especially this corner. Through Net's corner, you can see the rear getting very light, Alizar being very wide as well on the curbing. And going too wide through there, you are easy to spin the rear around, especially with a front-heavy car. So I think that will be one of the most interesting places for today, but Alizar is gonna come across the line to put in the first lap of his qualifying sessions. Should have enough time to put in 2 laps here today. And Alizar indeed takes top spot in front of Ruben CS. Emil in third, Anderson da Silva, another new driver on the board, going in 4th for the moment. And Kurzheim, Julian and Chico seem to not take part in this qualifying session, so they will try to make up ground from the back of the grid. But it's something that we've seen with both of them, have we?
Yeah, they seem to enjoy an extra challenge. We'll put it that way.
Currently no improvements in Sector 1. Emil also calling the session done early, but also in P3 with his 151.5.
Not a lot of competition for Alizar here up front. He's got over a second lead just from the rest of the grid, so he's looking pretty good, but he's still pushing and trying to do another decent qualifying lap. He's getting a bit ragged.
Jason seems to be able to get on a bit of an improvement. So maybe getting past Piotr Zadaibe. Lost a bit out in Sector 2. Boom CS improves to a 150.85. Jason improves to 4th, pushes down Anderson da Silva. Alizar doesn't improve on his lap time as well, but it seems like he will stay on pole unless Cesco Moreira can make something out of it, but he's way too far off in Sector 1 and Sector 2. But there's our provisional grid. Alizar in front of Ruben CS and Emil. I think Ruben is a bit of a surprise for me. What do you think?
Yeah, it's good to see some new names getting up there in the top 3 in qualifying. So good luck to them. Seem to be picking up some pace as qualifying went on. Maybe Ruben can do something similar in the race.
As we get ready to go on the grid. The red lights are on. And we go racing here at the road to launch in Fuji. It's been a good getaway for both Alizar and Emil, who immediately jumps past Ruben to go up into 2nd. Further down, it's 3 right, 4 P4. Big dive from the number 4 card on the inside. There is contact. That is with Mil OP. And even more carnage behind as 4 cars try to go into the spot of 2. And it seems like we also have a fight for the lead between Ruben CS and Alizar going into Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it got a little bit messy outside of T1 there. The T1 itself seemed fine, but the exit got a bit messy. Like I said, there was quite a bit of contact, some cars spinning around. Everyone seems to be back on the way now, though.
On board with Piotr Zadaibe, who already is up in 4th. Nicholas Kelly coming from way far down. I think he was P10 on the grid. Up into 5th. Dennis Kurzer into 6th. Remember, he didn't take the qualifying session. And down into Dunlop we go. A bit wide for Ruben. But very strong opening start here by Ruben.
Yeah, it was good to get past Alizar here, but now he's going to have to defend on the long last straight. So there's going to be a lot of slipstreaming going on there. Let's see how he handles that one.
Milo P and Jason side by side. Up into Ned's corner now. Seems like Jason can keep the position now, trying to go up the inside of Katarina Delgo. Trying to go the long way around, preserve speed, keep the momentum high up in the car. And you can see him slingshotting around the outside. That was a beautiful move there by Jason. And Katarina now actually has to watch out for Milo P because he's in slipstream. As we are not getting a challenge for lead because Alizar is a bit too far away.
Yeah, he didn't quite get the run out of the last corner he needed to pick up enough speed. He caught up with Ruben, but not enough to make a move.
Milo P outbreaking Katarina into turn 1, up into 8th, and actually Julian Chicot slipped with 3. He was, I think, a bit of an innocent bystander in that opening incident. He's down into 9th, now up into 8th. But it seems like he only got some minor damage on the left door and quarter panel.
Yeah, hopefully not affecting him too much with his pace down the big straight, which always seems to be where damage comes into play the most.
Alizar definitely with the pace to fight for the lead here though with Ruben. As Nicholas Kelly is now making a challenge on Piotr Zadaibe. Only 4/10 ads. But getting a very sideways there. And of course, over the duration of the race, it's a 35-minute race, you will wear down the tires quite a bit. Just gonna wear one of the big dropouts on that opening carnage. Down into 11th. Trying to do the same move past Katarina Delgo that Jason did, but not really able to keep the momentum high up.
Ali and Ruben starting to gap Emil a little bit here, so I think Ali's kind of like tucked in and stayed out of not really battling necessarily with Ruben, just trying to get a little bit of a gap, trying to play it smart and bide his time.
Meanwhile, Julian Chicot not really biding his time. He's getting past his opponents as fast as possible, just getting past Jason on the straight through Slipstream. And now in the pursuit of Dennis Kurzer. We've seen that last week. And Nicholas Kelly even closer now to Piotr Zadaibe. But Aliza really putting the pressure on the Spaniard now.
Yeah, he's been showing himself a few times into corners, but mainly seems to be just holding Ruben up a little bit as he takes a more defensive line. I think Ali playing a little bit of a head game there.
For Ali, this could be the chance to either take the championship lead in this race or at least get very close to it. As said previously, Dominik Lala not in this race.
Yeah, I'm sure Ali's going to have it in his head that this is a good opportunity to make a bunch of points back on Dominik Ladler. So he's going to want that first place, but he's not going to want to jeopardize a decent points haul for it.
Not only that, but his other rival in the championship, who's only 2 points ahead of him on 31 to 29, is Julian Chicot, who's down in 7th. She's possibly able to make up some ground later in this race, but this could be a decent points jump. Right now, probably 11 to 12 points he would gain on Julian Chicot alone.
Yeah, Chicot is currently lapping about 2 seconds faster than Demis Kurzer, so that gap's going to shrink pretty quickly. But also, Chicot's not done a valid lap yet, so he is using up incident points as he goes around here. He's going to want to be probably taking that a little bit easier as the race goes on.
Indeed. And this is the current points table before this race. You see Dominik Lala on 50 points, Julian Chicot 31, Ali Zayat 29, Enrico Bräuninger. I think I've seen him on the entry list, but he isn't actually taking part here today, as it seems. He's on 28 as well. So 21 points for Ali Zayat today could be possible if he gets fastest lap and wins the race. But he will not be able to jump far past Dominik Lala, but of course he will try to use the opportunity now in slipstream of Ruben and alongside.
Being pushed to the outside though, not the most advantageous position to be in. He tries to go for an up and under.
Very well defended there by Ruben.
It was a good move. Well, they've got a couple of seconds gap back to Emil, so you can maybe go a bit more gloves off and start trying to make a move.
But Emil himself has now a 7-second lead over Piotr Zadaibe, who was able to build a bit of a gap to Nicholas Kelly for some time. They are quite close now again, but they are considerably faster than cars behind it. Dennis Kurz and Julian Chico are both getting closer to this fight as Nicholas Kelly now has the chance to pass the NGSRT driver. But Piotr Zadabe seems to have been able to get more momentum out of the hairpin. But look at that, Julian Chico.
Dennis Kurtz is going to see that fight ahead of him, and he knows Julian Chico is right behind. Maybe not for long.
He doesn't even decide to fight it. I think that's very interesting. But with the way Julian Chico was getting closer to him, I think it only makes sense.
Yeah, it's true. We might as well let him through and let him drag him to the fight ahead just that little bit quicker. And see if they can make it a four-way fight.
Can just use Julian Chico to drag past both Zadabe and Kelly. That's a win-win situation for both, essentially. They know how fast they are because they've raced each other to the line last time around in Daytona, as we have a very close fight still for the back of the grid. Mil OP and Katarina Delgo still at it.
With another side-by-side just behind them, there's a bit of a four-way fight going on here.
Katarina Delgo moving past Mil OP up into 9th. Cesco has to give way to Anderson da Silva. But I think it's very nice to see that all these cars are still involved in this race. Nobody is really out on their own except maybe for Emil, but Nicholas Kelly now making a move on Piotr Zadabe. I think he did that through the outside of 100R. And if
Dennis Kurtz seems to have got a little bit dropped off from the fight, but the other three are definitely not taking it easy, so I'm sure Dennis Kurtz can catch up to him fairly easily.
Mil OP spun round, seems like he did it on himself, exiting the hairpin. Another very tricky traction part of Fuji. Another good chance here for Ali down the front stretch.
Yeah, Ruben's taking a very defensive line there, immediately going right over to the right-hand side of the track, covering that off, forcing Ali to go wide.
The same move he pulled last time on, and again it works for Ruben. Let's see how Nicholas Kelly is able to defend from Piotr Zadabe and Julian Chico. Julian Chico is bump drafting Piotr Zadabe, who's going down the inside. Can he get the car stopped in time? Nicholas Kelly is going for the long way around. Can't use the slingshot though because Julian Chico is there. The two drivers from Poland essentially working together to pass Nicholas Kelly here in one move.
Bit of Polish teamwork.
Zadabe now a bit wide again through the hairpin. Last time around he could get enough of a slingshot still to make or keep Nicholas Kelly behind. How about Julian Chico this time? He's having a look down the inside. And he keeps it in front again. But look, Dennis Kurza is right with them again. Oh, Julian Chico getting loose. We are 3 wide into Panasonic corner. Piotr Zadabe getting a bit wide. There is contact. Julian Chico in a drift. There goes Dennis Kurza. There's more contact. But all make it through. I don't know how, but all make it through.
That was some good control by Julian Chico there. I thought he was going to spin around, but he managed to keep it pointing the right way.
And now we have 2 drag races down in Tron. It seems like Julian Chicot can't keep it ahead of Piotr Zadaibe. Can he outbreak him as well, though? That is the question. Behind them, it seems like Dennis Kurzer got past Nicolas Kelly. And indeed, the order is now Julian Chicot, Piotr Zadaibe, Dennis Kurzer, and Nicolas Kelly.
There's some good fighting going on in this train here. I'm sure the drivers are enjoying it, and we're enjoying it too. Keep it going.
And Dennis Kurzer around the outside in 100R, keeps it on the curb. Can he get the car stopped for the hairpin with the rear stepping out? Kind of, but it cost both of them a lot of speed. And through goes Nicolas Kelly again.
Maybe a little bump that straightened him up there, though. That was perhaps a bit of a save.
Oh, and big send down the inside now, but makes it work. Cuts a bit across the curving. Doesn't necessarily help you, but I think Piotr Zadaibe also went quite deep into Dunlop there.
Ali Zahir's got another amazing drafting opportunity, but Ruben's just on that defensive line every time. It's so tricky to get it to work. He just can't get the overspeed he needs to get past before the end of the straight.
He is a bit in front, but Ruben again super strong on the brakes. And Ali tries to keep the speed high around the outside, but turn 1 doesn't really let you to do that. Fight for P8 is also still on. Anderson da Silva now trying to get past Katarina Delgo in the slipstream. Can he get close enough down into turn 1? It's a very long straight. He's showing himself down the inside, but he's too far away. Just when we are watching from behind, it seems like Jason has retired from this race.
Seems like Ali's been glued to the back end of Ruben CS's M2 for maybe the last 3 or 4 laps, but he just can't quite find a way past. He keeps going for the big overtake on the start-finish straight, but I think he's going to have to try something else.
He's gotta get a bit creative, definitely. Because Ruben seems to always be prepared for what Ali can throw at him. Meanwhile, I want to say that Emil, he's of course 9 seconds behind the leaders, but because of the fighting behind, he has a 12-second gap to Julian Chicot. There's 20 minutes left to go, but 12 seconds might be enough for him, if he can keep it together, to stay on podium course, potentially.
His laps have been pretty consistent, really, except for the last lap. He's been running in the kind of the high 50s, low 51s, which is, I know Julian Chicot's not exactly had clean air yet, really, in the race, but he's been running kind of generally about the same pace or a little bit quicker than Julian Chicot. Fastest lap of the race currently in Ruben's hands with a 1:49.9.
It will be a point that Ali Zai wants to have, I'm sure of that. But as long as he's stuck behind the leader of the race, he won't be able to go faster than him, really.
No, you kind of feel like he just can't. He's a little bit quicker, but he just can't quite make it stick into any of the decent overtaking places. He's going to have to play it pretty smart to make this move, I think. Or just keep applying pressure and hope that Ruben cracks at some point.
Yes, 17 minutes to do so. He has half the racing distance essentially left but so far Ruben has not put a foot wrong. Not making us that easy.
He's definitely played a good race after taking the lead early on. He's defended well. He seems to have the just enough pace that Ali can't walk past.
This time going for a slightly different approach, braking a bit earlier and then trying to go for the undercut, but again Ruben just keeping the momentum of the car high up. Still slightly on side into Coca-Cola, but can he make a move now around the outside in 100R? But again, Ruben just has it covered.
Yeah, he's maybe be better holding off making a move there and trying to make one into the hairpin at the end of this section, but
I don't think he's close enough.
Not now, no.
I think the... Oh, big drift there by Aliza, that's what you've been talking about earlier. Nicholas Kelly, meanwhile, dropped behind Anderson da Silva down into 8th. And he lost a bit of his door, and we see a lot of damage on Dennis Kurzer's car. On the front left.
Last lap round was Ruben's fastest lap of 1:49.8, but Ali Zahir pulling a 1:49.68 out of the bag with that little bit of slipstream, so Ali's now having the fastest lap points.
I wonder if there was some contact between Nicholas Kelly and Dennis Kurzer. If that had some other origin. Won't really bother these two guys. Aliza now having a look on the inside of the hairpin room again, keeping the momentum high on the outside. That's what Piotr Zadaible has been doing to keep Dennis Kurzer at bay. Has worked for him like a charm, and it seems like it's working for Ruben CS as well.
Ruben keeping a very defensive line all the way around there. Manages to keep Ali behind him, not giving him a door.
Even with the damage, Nicholas Kelly seems to be able to go the pace of Anderson da Silva and Dennis Kurzer. Of course, has damage himself.
Yeah, there's a bit of a battle scar on the front of that M2CS.
Not sure that qualifies as a scar. May as well be bullet hole at this stage. Oh, but that's interesting. Ali Zaya not choosing to go into the slipstream of Ruben. Oh, Ruben going a bit wide. Now the chance for Ali. They exit side by side. Ruben with better exit speed. That will be an advantage going down into Coca-Cola. And still in the lead, even with braking a bit later than he probably wanted to. And if this were to stay as it is, Ali Zayan second with the fastest lap point, he would enter the next round in 1 week, equal on points with Dominic Ladler.
I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with.
Bit of a fight between Anderson da Silva and Dennis Kurzer, who make a bit of contact on the straight. Anderson da Silva keeping the car under control over the grass, but dropping down to 8th in the meantime, and Nicholas Kelly up into 7th with that. Well, how long have these guys... What's the lap where these two haven't been fighting?
I think it was like the first couple of laps, but that's about it. It's maybe the last 10 laps or so. Ali just sneaking ahead by the end of the start-finish straight.
This time he is going a bit wide. He will be able to build the momentum, but Ruben is blocking him out. He had the car completely in front on the exit. But that meant any chance that Ali Zayed at getting alongside down into turn 3 here was pretty much gone.
These two guys must be shredding their tires fighting like this every lap.
Don't seem too bothered, to be honest.
No, they don't know. I'm sure they're just enjoying it.
Oh, I think that was the first bit of contact there between the two cars. Just getting a bit loose there, Ali Zayed. Will we see the third winner in 3 races? Or will it be Ali Zayed going for the back-to-back victory to take the championship lead?
This is an impressive race by Ruben, though. He's managed to keep it really composed all the way around so far. After some pretty intense pressure from Ali Zahir. 10 minutes left to go. He's going to be hoping that clock ticks down a little bit faster.
He will definitely hope to not have to do another lap, but I think it could be 6 more laps to go. Ali Zayed this time around pretty far away. He tried something else going into Panasonic that basically lost him a lot of speed exiting the turn. Diving down the inside though. Bit of contact between the two of them. Was this the move to get him into the lead, or can he fight back? I think Ali Zayed has taken the lead with that for good.
Yeah, I think so. He might. It was a bit of a block pass. He went pretty deep, but he's managed to make it stick, and he's got a good kind of 7/10 Ruben. We know he's had some good pace so far in qualifying.
Don't think it's quite over yet. Room CS, if he can get a strong sector 3 around here, and he's gained a bit since the hairpin, he may be able to launch a bit of an attack on Ali Zayed down the straight again. But I think the gloves have come off.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get a little bit further ahead and break the slipstream, but he's just not quite been able to do it. So it's kind of the same positions, but reversed. Ali taking the defensive line coming down the straight.
Both with very similar exits now in the slipstream. It was the same distance Ali Zayed had when he did his move. Will Room CS try to do the same thing? I think he has a little less speed than Ali over the straight. Now of course the slipstream is kicking into effect. He is definitely showing himself on the inside. He's braking. He's keeping his nose down the inside. And he makes the move stick and retakes the lead in this race. With a very, very clean dive bomb.
That's got to be gutting for Ali, who spent so long trying to make that move work.
He has a few more chances, but the prospect of Room being able to take back the position is maybe not what Ali Zahir has been looking for. But now the exit happens, and there's contact. Ali Zahir is spun round.
Oh, that was an unfortunate contact. Right on his front right-hand fore panel.
Yeah, it was the slightest of touches, but this is enough to get the car spinning around. Hard to tell who really is. Yeah.
When your car's loaded up like that, you don't need a lot of a contact to just send the weight flickering around, and things get a bit messed up pretty quickly. I'm sure Ali's going to be kicking himself about that one.
Yeah, I think it was the combination of both. Room not going as far outside as Ali thought, and Ali going more towards the outside than Room thought. So probably something they will both have a look at after and be like, could have both avoided it. But with 5 minutes left to go, I think that is it for Room.
Yeah, the main question now is going to be, can he get an extra 2/10 and get the fastest lap?
Indeed, that will be a big question mark. Meanwhile, further down, because we of course have concentrated on the lead battle so much, there have been some changes. Julian Shakur is still 5 seconds behind Emil. As we said, this will be very tight for him to catch up in the time. Anderson da Silva is up into 6th. He was fighting for P10 just a few laps ago, and he's up into 6th. Katarina Delgo as well, up into 7th. Because Dennis Kotzer and Nicholas Kelly have both dropped a lot, and you can see Nicholas Kelly even more damage on that car. It was a very strong opening part to the race, but it kind of fell apart later on. And Chesky, even with his salvaged car from the start, is able to keep the car running in 9th.
To be honest, Julian Shakur has done a 1:49.75, which puts him in 2nd place as far as fastest lap is concerned, and he's really closed the gap up to Emil. It's only 4.4 seconds right now. So he's making very much a last end of the race surge, and he's not willing to give up just yet, apparently.
Where any point he can take off Ali Zahir will help him in the championship. So if he gets the chance to snatch the fastest lap away from him, I'm sure he will take it. But as it is currently, with the positions as they are, Julian Shakur in 4th would increase his points tally to 43 points. Ali Zahir on 50, alongside, of course, then Dominic Ladler on 50. They both missed one race each.
Ali Zahir just done a 1:49.3, taking 3/10 out of his lap record from before.
You can also see the gap to Room definitely shrinking a bit. And yeah, the slight dents over the last few laps that have come into that car. Front left, rear right, bit of bumping everywhere.
It's a touring, well, it's kind of a touring car. I think everyone would be a bit disappointed if you didn't finish the race with a few bumps.
I mean, that's why the bumpers are made out of plastic anyway. That will buff right out. But it will be tight. I think this one could be the final lap. He has 9 seconds to Ali Zahir. Is he going to slow down a bit? How many seconds will he need to make this the final lap?
Now there's still 1:50 left on the clock, so I don't think he's going to be able to do it yet.
No, the finish line is very early, I think.
Yeah.
So it could be but I think he should be able to do it.
I think so. I think it was about 143 when he crossed the line.
This one will be interesting to see.
Zaire putting another 49.4 in, so definitely wanting to show in these last stages of the race that he had the pace. He wants to kind of show a little bit of dominance, even though he's probably going to come in second.
Tell you what though, for Ruben and Ali it doesn't make much difference whether they drive one lap more or less. But for Emil it does, because Julian Chico, as he said, is only 4 seconds behind. This could basically make his life a lot harder or a lot easier.
Yeah, the gap to Emil seemed to have closed up a little bit more, but I don't know if Julian Chico made a little bit of an error or not. The last lap round, they did pretty much the same lap time. Whereas Julian Chico was going faster than that before.
And the gap is shrinking again, that's for certain. Down to about 3.6 now. But Ruben CS comes out of the final turn. Will this be the last lap or not? It will be super tight.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the last lap.
It is the last lap. Ruben CS wins race number 3 in the RENNSPORT Road to Launch series. Alizai will come home second. I think he will still be happy about the fight they had before. He usually enjoys close fighting. Emil will finally take his first podium here, with Julian Chico only 3.2 seconds back in the end. He started from the back end of the grid, so he can be very pleased with that. And Piotr Zadaibe holding up the flag for NGSRT will come home in 5th, and I think for him, seeing how recent races went, he will be happy with that as well.
Yeah, I think there was some good racing there. It was it got a bit bumpy, but I think all in the kind of good spirit of touring car racing. I don't think anybody went too aggressive.
Anderson da Silva in the end finishing 6th. Katarina Delgo 7th, Dennis Kurzer 8th, and Cesco Monera will come home in 9th. I think that is the best he could do for today. But yeah, that was round number 3 in the RENNSPORT Road to Launch series. I think it was pretty interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a good race. Some good moves, a little bit of tactical fighting going on. Yeah, it was a race I enjoyed watching, if that means anything.
Well, let's take a look at the updated standings after this race. We see Dominic Lada and Ali Zaya equal on points, 50 each, going into the next round. Julian Chico on 43, then it's Piotr Zadaibe who jumps up into 4th with that result. And Dennis Kurzer, both actually taking the same points now that Ali Zaya and Julian Chico started the race with, which is quite interesting. And then Enrico Bruiniger and Cesco Monrea 28 and 27 points each, Emil now on 26. So very tight battle for the podium position as well. Some people further down also moving up, most notably Nicholas Kelly and Ruben CS with that victory getting 22 points to his name. Yeah, I think it was a very entertaining race. Let's have a look what we can expect next week. Because next week we will go to Spa-Francorchamps, and I think you don't really have to say much about Spa, do you?
It's a pretty obscure track. I don't know if any of the guys know it. It's not really talked about a lot.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, even though it may fly a bit under the radar. But all jokes aside, one of the best racing tracks, especially in the M2. You've seen so many great fights on Spa. And yeah, after that, again, next week we will let you know what round 5 will be. But yeah, next week we start off with RCL on Saturday on Hockenheim, and then we move on to the RENNSPORT Road to Launch series. What we also have next week coming for you is something to vote on, because you can see some question marks there for episode 6 of season 7. You of course need to fill that, so there will be a bit of a community voting again. Maybe vote Atlanta, maybe not. And for you of course to vote what the final track of season 7 should be, and it's actually the final GT3 race in early access here on RENNSPORT before we go to launch at the start of November. With that, I'd say thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, and see you back when we go racing next Saturday. Any final words from you?
Nope, nothing from me. Thanks for everyone for taking part. Thanks for the guys in Twitch. It's been great seeing you. I'll see you next week.
And goodbye.
Goodbye.